Hello, my name's Emma Levy, and in this video I'm going to answer some of the questions that clients ask me about why my pricing is how my pricing is. What are the things that contribute to my pricing? So first of all, people often think it's going to be to do with paying for venues, the places where we're holding sessions, its equipment, things like this. But actually, all of those kind of things I just consider to be their overheads. Of course, I need to factor those in. But the thing that really makes the difference is time, my time. Now, when you book a session with me, you're booking a session of a certain duration. But that's not the only time that I'm working for you. I start working for you way before that. So if it's your first session, depending what the reason is for you coming to me, I will usually be asking you to send me quite a lot of information in advance so that I can do some initial analysis and we can really make the most of the time that we're spending together. So, for example, if you are an adult with some kind of musculoskeletal discomfort and you want some help with that so that you can get back to your usual exercise, fitness, sporting routine, I will ask you to send me some video of you walking from different angles so that I can do some analysis of that before we actually meet. Of course, the analysis will continue during the session, but I have a good idea what to expect because I've seen that in advance. If you are a parent bringing a child who you would like me to work with to address some issues around maybe some day-to-day behavioural challenges or something to do with fine motor, gross motor skills, social skills, all sorts of things. It could be I will ask you to complete a couple of what I call neurosensory motor screening questionnaires in advance, and then I need to spend time analysing those before I meet your child. And it may be as a result of what I see on those forms that I arrange a call with you and have a chat so that I'm in a much better position to make every minute of the time that I have with your child count. So that's before even the first session. Then the session takes place, and then after the session, there's always going to be more to do. Now, it may be that I create some videos that I send you to help you with the exercises that you're going to be doing between sessions. It could be that we need to chat from time to time. You might have some questions once you or your child have been working on some of the activities that we've identified as being helpful. You may be noticing things happening that you hadn't anticipated and would like a bit of a chat. You might email me, you might WhatsApp me, I might create another video for you. And then I'm preparing for the next session. Now, obviously, I'm not available 24/7, but generally I find that I try and respond to any queries as soon as I can. Sometimes they need pretty quick responses because, for example, I want to make sure that you're practicing things in a way that's helpful. Other things might not need such a quick response. So it may be that we've been looking at maybe some breathing exercises that you've been doing that have produced some data, or there might be something that you've been doing swimming that has produced some data, and I've offered to do the analysis of that data for you. And so within a few days, I will do some analysis of the data and send that back to you in one form or another, with a chart, with some written or spoken commentary, for example. So there's a lot going on with my time outside the sessions. And this is one of the reasons why there is no difference between the cost of face-to-face sessions, in-person sessions, and remote sessions over Zoom. That's another question I sometimes get, because the time I'm contributing both during and after, before and between sessions is exactly the same. I'm also sometimes asked why I recommend longer sessions than you might be used to with some other practitioners. So, for example, I really recommend with adults a minimum of 2 hours for a first session, a younger child just 1 hour, but longer sessions are also fine for teenagers and adults. And I very rarely go any shorter than the recommendations that I make and that you can see in various places on my website and so on. Basically, the more time we have to spend together, the more progress we can make. We can make more progress both in terms of investigating what your current situation is, trying out different interventions to find the right ones for you, and making sure that you've had an opportunity to try out, and I can assess and be confident that you know what you're doing in what you're taking home to practice. So the more time we have, the more progress we can make. And of course, the time that there is between sessions will vary. For some people, for example, younger children, I would generally recommend a frequency of once a week, but for some people, and depending where you live and what type of thing you're working on, it may be a number of weeks or months even before I see you again. So I definitely want to make sure that we have enough time together to give you what you need so that you can make the best use of your time when you're doing activities at home that are going to help you to work towards your goal. With children, even very small children, and I've attended MNRI conferences, for example, looking at reflex integration, and seen very small children work with practitioners for 5 hours a day for a week. So, of course, their brains get tired. They're doing a lot of work, making a lot of changes. However, the transformation is amazing, and I know if they can do that, then a child can manage 60 minutes with me. Whereas with some other practitioners, you might be used to something shorter, 30 minutes or 45, for example. Of course, there are always exceptions, and if it turns out that somebody really, really needs a shorter session, then fine, we discuss that and work out what's going to be best. So again, thinking of what you may have experienced with other people, it may be that some other practitioners, the time that they spend, that they devote to you, is the session itself. They may provide you with all of the information that you need to do your exercises and so on within the session. They do the bits of admin related to what's just happened in the session before you leave, and you have no contact with them in between times. So as I say, there's a lot more going on, a lot more of my time that I'm offering outside the session itself. Now, you might be wondering why I have Sam here. I thought I would just give you a little bit of information about also another reason why we need long enough sessions to be able to do some really good investigating. So one of the things I love about this is the colours, and if you see the dark orange here, This goes underneath and to both sides, under here. It's called the sphenoid bone. And the sphenoid is supposed to sit horizontal. But for some people it doesn't. For some people it's a bit squint. And the sphenoid very much is connected with our pelvis. So if I'm working with somebody whose pelvis is not well aligned, I'm not necessarily only going to work there. It may be that we need to have a look at what's going on with the sphenoid and do some work around the head to help the sphenoid to level so that we can get the movement that we need here. So that's one example of why when we're working with a whole person, it takes time. And the more time we spend together, the more progress you're going to make more quickly, the better understanding we'll both have of what's going on for you or your child, and help you and them to achieve the goals that you're working towards.